Hello, Renee Flamond here, and Minnie, who's facing us today for the moment. You guys, last video, this channel, as you know, I'm always trying to bring you something that's an edge to help you get through something, over something, around something, to help you process. Many times being in these kinds of relationships, they hit us with a lot of surprises, feelings we don't know are coming. Okay, this is one of those. After making the last video where I talk about, it's entitled When the Narcissist is Thinking When They're Trying to Convince You. At least that's what I'm hoping it's going to be titled. It hasn't posted yet. But in reviewing that, it made me realize that there's another angle to that I want to bring up to you. And that is what in fact does happen to our insides every single time we believe them. We accept another lie. We forgive them. We welcome them back with open arms. Every single time, that is doing something to the insides of us. And I don't want anyone just going through life not thinking that that's chipping away. So we need to unpack that, okay? You'll go mad eventually with this kind of repeated action, okay? That's what will happen. If you convince yourself that what he's trying to be saying to be convincing you is true, if you convince yourself that that stuff is true, there's nowhere to go but down. And I'm going to tell you why. But first, let's distinguish the difference, okay? Because there is a difference between you're sticking it out for a multitude of reasons, but you really don't believe him anymore, and you know you don't believe him anymore, but you're just trying to break away, or you're trying to make your life work the best way that you can because you're stuck there for a myriad of reasons, whatever. There's a difference between that, which is where I was, and really believing what they're telling you. For example, I knew at one point finally, I knew that it was never going to be anything. This wasn't a real relationship, even if I didn't have the terminology for it yet. I knew it. I felt it. I could see it. I could smell it. I was just hanging in there until I could make the final break, right? I kept making all these breaks. I'd let them come back. But I knew eventually there'd be a final break. I guess you could say I weaned myself off of my narcissist. Essentially, that's, I guess, what you could say. But I was aware. I was awake. I got aware, finally. And I got awake. And then I weaned myself. So I wasn't believing. There was no danger of him infiltrating my soul with these untruths, right? When you are believing, then there is always fresh opportunity for them to pull that rug out from under you again. If you continually accept, forgive, and say, oh yeah, let's start fresh. Let's start fresh. I wonder how many of those he's going to destroy. My pronoun is he for a partner. You use whatever pronouns in whatever capacity you want. I always say that, right? But mine is he, so that's what's infused throughout my stories. And you know what? The thing that's the danger to us, to our psyche, if you're in that, is you will be full of hope every single time. You're hopeful every time. And as we know, that hope, that'll destroy a person in a relationship with a person with narcissistic personality disorder when we're hanging on to hope. The narcissist will destroy you and all that you have holding you together if you allow them to. They'll remain in your life as long as you'll allow them to. And as they remain in your life, they're going to be imposing more and more damage upon you. To be trampled time and time again is an awful thing. But at least, I don't know, at least I was awake to it, so I wasn't so shocked anymore. I was like, oh, that again? Of course you did. Meaning because I knew deep down he was going. You follow the difference? If you're really in it, like before I caught on, and they commit another infraction and commit another, which they will. It's part of their personality. Of course they're going to commit another infraction if they're a narcissist. So here you are accepting what they're trying to convince you with, and boom, you're ripe for another infraction, betrayal. I can't imagine having faith, going back in, believing in him again, and then getting disappointed, which will happen again. Think about how you felt with each infraction. Any of us, whether you've been through it a lot, a little, new, old, think about how you felt with each infraction, especially that first one. When you're someone that went back in each time thinking it would change, that's a dangerous spot. And I want you to think about that. Were you someone that went back in each time thinking it would change? Or did you know the whole time it was never going to change, but you went back in for the myriad of other reasons that we go back in, right? Imagine getting that awful feeling of shock, right? Over and over and over again. What would that do to our insides? If you continually go back in and you continue, what's that piece of hair doing? That's bothering me. And you continually figure out that it ends badly, right? Because an infraction happens, you're heartbroken, so you always land in the same spot, that it's gonna be bad. But then you continually go back in. I just caution those that stay blind. I really do. The danger to yourself is vast. That'll chip away at your sanity. Truly. Because intolerable behavior being repeated upon you is abusive. It's not right. And self-esteem is getting buried deeper every single time. You're getting that shock each infraction. It's not good. And it's inevitable that you will start to feel, what did I do to deserve this? Or why am I not valuable of him behaving? And what is it that I did wrong this time? He said he was going to behave, but he did not. Again. And that's where we have to talk about, none of it is you. Your self-esteem shouldn't be in the toilet. He was always going to do another infraction. It didn't matter how much you believed him, how much you stood by him, how much you supported him, what tone of voice you used, how you... Their disorder dictates their behavior. Not you, not what you do, not what you didn't do, not, oh, you should have done this, blah, 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 blah. No. Their disorder dictates their behavior. Right? Has nothing to do with you. But if you keep taking it all in and assuring him, it's going to be okay, I'm not leaving you, I love you, we're going to work it out. That's kind of what it sounds like when you're going back in fully, you know what I mean? I think I did that once or twice. That kind of language. Like he said, oh, you're never going to look at me the same way again, and blah, 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 and I wasn't really in the know yet. I really didn't understand what was happening yet. So I said, no, we'll work it out. We'll work it out. I told you I loved you, I do. And I've made plenty of videos on that. How I guess I didn't love him. And when I say plenty of videos on that, I mean about figuring out your way in this relationship, whether you feel or don't, or whether you really want to be with them or you don't. At some point, there is a realization for many of us, for most of us, if you're watching this channel, whether you leave your narcissist or not, I hope you're awake. And that if you can't leave your narcissist, which many people just can't or won't, or they've decided they're not going to, and I do not tell people to leave, but if you can't leave, I want you to at least admit to yourself what's going on. I know a girl, along with the last video about them trying to convince us, I had a particular friend of a friend in mind. She's in complete denial. Moved him in to her home. Gave him a job. He's a bum. So she's employed him. She's given him a home in her home, right? I doubt she's making him pay anything. He was a bum. She owns the house. He's going to live there now. She's in complete denial. It's tough to watch. It is. It's tough to watch. It truly is. So in other words, no one had to tell me. This is, again, the difference to make you understand what I'm trying to tell you. No one had to tell me. I knew. I saw. And, you know, this girl that I'm talking about does not see. And that's a particularly vulnerable place she's put herself in, and it cannot and it will not end well. And you can't tell her either, right? Because you're in that position. We all know that. When you're right there, no one can tell you anything. She just doesn't see, and I feel terrible, and I wish I could help. And I've tried to, say this or that, but you know how it is when you're in that. Well, once you get to where you are aware of what's going on, please just hold on to that. Don't allow yourself to become convinced by them and then take them all in wholeheartedly. Do you know what I'm saying? Even the chances that I were giving over and over again, I made it very difficult for my narcissist. I wouldn't say I love you. I wasn't right back into the cuddle mode and being all. And as it turns out, it doesn't matter, because even if I did do those things, he was a narcissist and he was going to commit those infractions again anyway. So don't I feel great knowing that, yes, I kept letting him come a little bit, whatever, we had some back and forth, but I was never right back to who I was in love bombing either. I was completely unattracted to the behavior I was seeing. And I allowed that to guide me through allowing me to be able to finally separate from this harmful being, right? And now I'm at the point that I take pity on him, his life, who he comes in contact with, his friends, his partners, business partners. They're going to all get walloped. He's shady, shifty, dishonest. It's just one big mess. And I had one person try to, when I say nobody had to tell me, what I have in mind is I had a person very close to me say, but Renee, do you not see? Blah, 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 blah. Do you not see? Can you not see this cat and what he's about? My God, wake up. I did have someone try to say that. And what I found particularly cringeworthy for myself is, I remember I kept saying, I know, you're right, I know. Yet I wasn't leaving completely. It was the back and forth, and I kept breaking up with him and throwing his stuff in the bag, and because they always leave a few things, right? But I wasn't leaving, but I knew. So are you a person, you have to decide, are you a person that sees and is just pretending that they don't? And that's fine. You know what? To the world, you want to work it out with your narcissist, you're trying to be a buckaroo, but please, in here is what I'm worried about. the people that full on go right back in without any awareness after what they just experienced. That behavior they showed you with those first infractions, that first disloyal action, that is who they are. And I'm really sorry if you're one of the people that's just going through this and just learning it, and you're trying to have hope and you're trying to go back in. I'm not trying to crush that, but kind of like a little bit I am. Only because I don't want you going back in blindly thinking it was a one-time thing and they're not going to do it again. And they really do love you. And they really are sorry. And they don't know what happened. And they tripped and fell into that person. I'm being gross, but you know what I'm saying? I didn't really mean that, the way that came out. That sounded gross, but I didn't mean it like that. But yeah, I tripped and fell into her company. Oh, is that what happened? So I just want you aware and awake so that you're not walloped again with the tsunami of pain that comes with you realizing they did something wrong. If you are going back in, please just keep your eyes open and know and be on your toes that probably another thing is coming, and then another thing behind that, and then another thing behind that. How you handle your life with a narcissist, that's an intricate web of, I'm not sure, but please don't just go in blindly and believe them when they say things are going to be different. My concern is you, your mental health, and how you're feeling about yourself. It can do a number on us. It can do a number on us if we don't stay alert as to what is happening with the narcissist. Please, chin up, and I thank you for watching. And go ahead and hit sub, like, and share, and I'll see you next time.